you're waiting for life to get easier, you've already surrendered to mediocrity. Ease is the mirage that keeps warriors asleep. Life does not become easier. You become stronger. That's the truth Miyamoto Musashi lived, breathed, and carved into history with the edge of his sword and the weight of his discipline. He wasn't born fearless. He was born human. But through fire, solitude, and relentless truth, he became something greater. A man who refused to wait for courage, who refused to wait for the right moment, who refused to wait for anything. He fought his first duel at 13. By 29, he had faced more than 60 warriors, each one armed, trained, and convinced they could end him. None succeeded. But what's more important than his victories is how he won. Musashi understood that most people lose before the first strike. Not because they lack skill, but because they hesitate. They wait for the perfect time, the perfect conditions, the perfect feeling. He didn't. He acted in imperfection. He moved in uncertainty. He attacked in fear. Because he knew something few people ever learn. Courage does not precede action. It follows it. When Musashi was 7 years old, he left home after a violent argument with his father. He walked away with nothing but his will. No teacher, no money, no plan, only hunger and instinct. It wasn't a moment of strategy, it was survival. But in that moment, he discovered the essence of all strength. You don't grow by waiting to be ready. You grow by moving forward despite not being ready. Every act of movement burns away weakness. Every step through fear creates the ground for power to stand on. He called those who wait, who procrastinate, who constantly delay their own transformation, dead spirits. The living dead. People who wake up each morning promising change but end each night unchanged. People who live in cycles of comfort and regret. To Musashi, this was the worst kind of death. Not the end of the body, but the decay of the will. And he had one cure for it: action. Brutal, relentless, unromantic action. No speeches, no motivation. Just movement. Because only movement brings life back into a dying soul. That's why Musashi's philosophy wasn't built on inspiration. It was built on systems. He didn't wake up hoping to feel strong. He built habits that made strength inevitable. He trained before dawn. He studied art, carpentry, calligraphy, and combat with equal precision. He lived as if discipline were oxygen, because he knew that strength is not something you switch on. It's something you construct, moment by moment, repetition by repetition, until it becomes who you are. And this is where most people fail. They confuse motivation for mastery. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is the fire that never goes out. Musashi understood that waiting for motivation is like waiting for the tide to stop. It never comes. So he learned to act without waiting to feel like it. And in doing so, he discovered freedom. The kind of freedom that only exists when your emotions no longer dictate your destiny. Musashi's strength wasn't just physical, it was mental architecture. He trained himself to find truth in discomfort, calm in danger, and focus in chaos. When fear came, he didn't avoid it, he ran toward it. If he felt weakness in his swordsmanship, he sought out the opponent who could exploit it. If his mind grew restless, he retreated into silence until his thoughts bowed before him. He understood what most people run from. The thing you fear most is the gate to your next evolution. What you avoid owns you. What you face frees you. Modern neuroscience now confirms what Musashi grasped centuries ago. The brain doesn't know the difference between real danger and imagined fear, but it knows who acts and who doesn't. Every time you move forward in spite of fear, you rewire your mind for strength. Every time you freeze, you train your brain to submit. Your brain respects your behavior more than your beliefs. You cannot think your way into courage. You must act your way there. And Musashi's life was a testament to that truth. After decades of battle, he withdrew from the world into a cave known as Reigando. He lived there alone for 2 years. No people, no comfort, no distractions. Just stillness, silence, and self. In that darkness, he refined his understanding of the warrior's path. He realized that every battle he had ever fought, every duel, every victory, was preparation for the real confrontation, the battle within. Could he sit in solitude and face himself without running? Could he look directly into the emptiness most people spend their lives avoiding? He could, and he did. And in that silence, he discovered something eternal. You do not conquer the world by defeating others. You conquer it by mastering yourself. Everything external, every victory, every loss, is just a reflection of the inner state. The man who controls his mind is invincible, even in defeat. The man who loses control of his mind is defeated, even in victory. Musashi wrote, "Today is no different from ever." He wasn't being poetic, he was being surgical. He meant that today is the battlefield, not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready. Every day you wait, the enemy, your inertia, your fear, your comfort, grows stronger. The only way to win is to strike now, in this moment, even if your hand trembles. Because hesitation doesn't delay your destiny, it destroys it. Imagine if Musashi had waited until he felt ready to fight. There would be no legend, no wisdom, no path to follow. Readiness is a myth sold to the weak. You will never feel ready to face your greatest fear, and that's why you must face it now. Musashi didn't become great because he was fearless. He became great because he moved while afraid. He didn't have confidence before battle. He earned it through battle. He didn't seek comfort. He sought truth, and truth is always uncomfortable. He believed that if you do what is easy, life becomes hard. But if you do what is hard, life becomes meaningful. So the question is, what are you still avoiding? What have you promised yourself 100 times, only to retreat when the moment comes? The project, the decision, the change. It will not wait forever. Every day you hesitate, the window narrows. And yet the power to move has always been within you. The warrior inside you is waiting, not for perfect conditions, but for your permission. The path of Musashi isn't about seeking comfort. It's about building character so strong that discomfort no longer intimidates you. It's about moving through fear until fear becomes fuel. It's about transforming the pain you once ran from into the discipline that drives you forward. Because strength doesn't come from what you've done easily. It comes from what you've done despite difficulty. Freedom isn't the absence of struggle, it's mastery over it. So remember this, life will never get easier. You will just become sharper. The storms won't stop, but you'll learn to move like water. The challenges won't disappear, but you'll learn to meet them like stone. The path won't smooth itself, but your feet will grow sure. The warrior's life is not about winning or losing. It's about meeting every day with presence, every obstacle with patience, and every fear with movement. Stop waiting for life to soften. It never will. You are the one meant to harden into strength, to sharpen into awareness, to awaken into mastery. Train your mind, master yourself, walk the dojo path.